Prosecutors tying more evidence from Jason Chen to Jasmine Pace during day 5 of his murder trial. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Chapman-Whitfield.
And I'm Josh Rowe. The prosecution called multiple investigators to the stand today, including those closely associated with the processing of fingerprints. Specifically, Lieutenant David Franklin testified investigators lifted 2 of Chen's fingerprints from a trash bag that contained Pace's remains.
Did you have concerns of potential bias in this particular case?
No, ma'am.
Did you have concerns of uncertainty
No, ma'am.
related to the prints?
No, I did a thorough analysis, comparison, and evaluation. I came to one conclusion: all these prints were made by Jason Chen.
The prosecution also zeroing in on Chen and Pace's digital footprints. Mark Hamilton, an investigator from the DA's office, testified that someone removed Pace's SIM card from her phone and replaced it with the SIM card from Chen's phone. Detectives recovered Pace's SIM card from Chen's parents' house in Nolensville.
So is it your opinion that Mr. Chen on November 25th, 2022 inserted his own SIM card into Jasmine Pace's phone?
Somebody did, yes, ma'am.
Somebody did.
I'm not sure who did it, but they had to physically remove it from the one phone because it was working. And less than a minute later, it shows up in another device.
The prosecution also showing messages from Chen's phone to and from different women on dating apps. Actions mentioned by the defense on day 1 during opening statements.
News Channel 9's Meg Doyle returns and continues her coverage from the courthouse right now. She joins us now live. Meg.
Josh, Kim, a lot was revealed today about the cell phone records of Jasmine Pace and Jason Chen's phone, but the spotlight was specifically on Tinder messages on Chen's phone. If you'll remember, it was the defense in opening statements who specifically said it was Tinder messages that Jasmine Pace saw that initially set her off, making her angry enough to attack Chen first.
Were you able to say with confidence that those prints, one being the left ring finger and the other the left middle finger, are that of Jason Chen?
That is correct.
Fingerprint analysis from CPD testified that these fingerprints from the outermost garbage bag containing Jasmine Pace's body match those of the suspect.
The 2 prints of quality to examine from that garbage bag around the body of Jasmine Pace were made by who?
Were made by Jason Chen. The prints of value were made by Jason Chen.
A criminal investigator for the DA's office, Mark Hamilton, testified that he used cell phone data to make these maps, plotting the travels of Jasmine Pace and Jason Chen's cell phones on the days in question. The prosecution says surveillance video caught Chen dragging this suitcase near his apartment later in the evening after Pace was killed, and Hamilton testified his cell phone data backed that up. Just minutes later, Chen is seen driving away. We know from testimony that Jasmine Pace arrived at Jason Chen's apartment on November 22nd after 11 p.m. The defense said in their opening statements, Chen killed Pace in the early morning hours of the 23rd.
Jasmine looked at his phone and saw all these messages with other girls, with other people. And this was infuriating to her.
But Hamilton testified that Chen's cell phone records showed that it was the next morning at 9:52 a.m. that Chen received a Tinder message from a girl named Victoria and 1 minute later wrote back.
And do you see here at 9:52, does Jason send a message on Tinder?
He does. It says, so I guess we're dating now.
Then testimony takes the timeline about 1 hour later.
At some point in the early morning, well, in the morning hours at 11:23, did Mr. Chen's phone travel to the Walmart?
Yes.
To your, from your memory, was that travel around 10:40 in the morning?
I believe it was, yes, ma'am.
The jury did have questions about if any Tinder messages came through on Jason Chen's phone on November 22nd. Hamilton testified no. Reporting live, I'm Meg Doyle, News Channel 9.
Okay, Meg, thank you. At the end of the day 4 of Chen's trial, we learned more about TBI evidence testing at the request of the Chattanooga Police Department. That's after the prosecution called a TBI forensic analyst to the stand. News Channel 9's Sarah Howard joins us now with more on this. Sarah.
Josh, that TBI analyst was the last witness to take the stand yesterday. Kim Lowe's testimony revealed more about how DNA evidence is processed. Lowe testified that a backlog of samples can lead to a long turnaround time. That included the processing time for evidence relating to Pace's case. Throughout the trial, the defense repeatedly questioned why some evidence the prosecution showed the jury was sent for testing and why some wasn't. When we asked the TBI, they sent us their policy, which says there is a 10-item limit for testing on homicide cases. That's unless law enforcement requests more evidence to be processed. But on the stand, that TBI analyst admitted she didn't test all the evidence sent to her by investigators, including some carpet samples with possible blood stains.
The Chattanooga Police Department sent 2 batches of evidence for analysis, of which only some of the items on these 2 reports were tested within the 10-item limit. Correct.
TBI says they begin their testing with evidence most likely to yield results and conclusions important to a case. The policy also says when DNA results are obtained, which answer the investigative questions pertinent to the case, additional items may not be tested. The TBI says testing more than 10 items for a case is a challenge for them both in time and expense. Josh?
Sarah, thank you. Our coverage of the Jason Chen murder trial continues online with our own Latricia Thomas. She's been providing live updates and outside expert commentary during the breaks. The coverage is set to continue tomorrow when court resumes. Along with on Monday, the jury voted to continue the trial despite the Martin Luther King Day federal holiday. You can find our live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and X.